Yeah, how do we start off? Do we start off with the bang?
I think you start off with a bang.
Okay, so
You always start off with a bang, man.
Amen.
Make an entrance.
Amen. So this is interesting because this is how I'm going to start this off. It's like after we talked, I said I wanted to write a book. It's been on my mind for a while about the new nigger.
Welcome to the GYST Life podcast. It is our hope that the gritty, real, and uncensored insights we share with you here will help you get your shit together as you explore and discover what it takes to live your best life on your terms.
The new nigger. Right?
Did you hear that in there? Damn. And that coming from a black man, folks.
Yeah. The new nigger. No,
we're talking
new nigga.
No, I got
right.
that.
And,
different game.
And we were discussing about how society, and this is of course the way that I'm seeing it, how society is slowly wrangling us into a position of what I envision is just like when you have a bunch of cattle and they don't know they're being sent off to the slaughterhouse.
It's like submission.
You know when I was at the movies?
Intentional ignorance.
I was at the movies just this last week, and there was an ad for airlines, and it was a whole bunch of cows at the airport, and I'm going, this is fucked up. The subliminal message behind it that we are being herded like cattle, and it's just the experience of the airline, right?
Yeah.
But oh, hey, here's the savior. WestJet is the savior. Best airline, won't treat you like cattle. It's already it's a narrative. It
is a narrative.
They're the one that created that environment. Is WestJet, United, all these economy airlines like, fuck you, you don't want to pay us $3,000 for an airline ticket, which is like ridiculously exorbitant. So instead, we're just going to treat you like cattle. They were the ones that created it, and now they're using that imagery to
and look
shift
how
the way we
easy
see
it is for us to flow with that narrative. Like
we just
it's
accept
a part of it. Exactly. Let me tell you how powerful that is. I remember I have a friend who's a gentleman that was a part of the band. He had that brain tumor. The Canadian band that.
Tragically Hip.
Yeah.
Tragically Hip. Do you remember what that?
Gord Downey Jr.
Gord Downey. Okay.
Shout out to him.
Yeah. May he rest in peace for sure. Whatever he had, whatever that brain tumor is called, she ends up having it. She's a person that I used to perform with. She was a dance teacher instructor. She still is. And I remember years ago we were going off to do a show, and I brought out my green liquid sludge. I'm drinking this stuff, and she goes, "Ooh, that's gross. That's disgusting. I can't believe you drink that." And she's sipping on her pop, and I go, "You know what's interesting, Rochelle?" I said, "What you're literally drinking, they put in poisons. Literally, they put into poison rats." I said, "What I'm drinking, you were designed to eat it. It was designed for your body. Millions of years. It was designed to keep you healthy, nutritional, happy, etc., mentally, physically." And I go, you know what's fucking interesting? Is that you were laughing at me for eating what you were designed to eat, and you were literally eating poison. I go, that's fucked up.
It is fucked up.
I said, that's strange.
Not that she said that. She's not fucked up.
No.
I know. I can see where you're going with
byproduct
this.
of the system.
I just to clarify something. What soda pop is in rat poison?
No, rat poison in soda pop.
Yeah.
Still, what pop?
What is that? Something,
I want to know what
something
pop that is.
potassium
She was drinking Coke.
Okay.
And I don't know all the ingredients, but I remember
just Google the ingredients list because pretty much every single one is a chemical compound.
It doesn't matter. The
Kind
point is she's drinking fucking Coke, and she's making fun of him for drinking vegetables.
That is.
And the brain.
I'm just like,
the marketing machine has
Patrick's
got.
trying to get confrontational again.
No, I just want to avoid whatever pop she's
The marketing machine.
Well, let's avoid all pops. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, but that's
you were designed to eat it. Yeah, so and that's the point. The thing is that she said it and she didn't realize what she was saying. Because when I saw somebody drinking something like that, I go, "What is that? That does look strange. What are you doing? Why are you doing that?" Right? And that's what I was explaining to her, and I go, "It is weird that you said that as normal as possible. Like, no, it is weird, Al, that you're eating something healthy and that's good for you. That's fucked up, Al, and that you find that fucking normal." I said, "That scares." I said, "It puts the hairs on the back of my neck and go, is that the kind of society we living in?" Because there's the thing also, if that's gripped her, there's certain things in context that's also gripped me. And this was a nice segue when you were talking about it, about how things are designed. I mean, if you put us out in the wilderness, as you were saying, and let's say I was getting training on that, where you're learning how to eat, learning how to survive and whatnot, and you came back to this society first of all, there would be a huge distinction in your confidence and who you are and your mentality.
Did you ever see that meme with the black slave owner and the white dudes in shackles?
No.
Oh, it's so good because somebody created it. Somebody created it because they were like the meme. I don't remember. Not to get off topic or too much tangent, but the meme said something like that makes you uncomfortable, doesn't it? Right. Mm-hmm. But again, with the narrative, like we've become so accustomed to watching black people get shit and pissed on in fucking Hollywood movies, like it's all just okay, like it's just normal. Yeah,
well, even on top of that,
we're numb to watching fucking people get sprayed in the street in the 60s. We're like, oh, that's too bad that happened to those people.
Well, because before
it's probably all good now, though, right?
The evolution of it, right? Before that actually was happening. That was like a regular, like you didn't live past 30 because like either you died from the plague or you got fucking shot, because that's the way civilization was. We also shit in pots and dumped it out the window in the morning.
Isn't that weird?
Right? We see the light is on and we're seeing it and we're like, that's so fucked up that it's okay that violence is in movies. Like that's who the fuck we are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
as an animal, we're designed to protect what's ours, our tribe, the group of women in our tribe that we fuck. We don't want anybody else to come in and fuck up that lineage or whatever it is. So these instincts that we deny that they exist. We fight against it, and now when it's present or brought to our attention, we're like, that's so fucked up.
But that's only one side of the coin, though.
Right, fair.
Right, us being, what's the word I'm looking for? Like the scarcity mentality, even if it's like from an animal level, that's only one side of the coin. Mm-hmm. We've been taught that that's how it is. That's another narrative, too. We've been taught that that's how it is. Mm-hmm. Fight and kill and get your own.
This goes back to everything is learned behavior.
Right? And you think about this for a second. I was talking this with my kids yesterday. I was talking about this with my mentor group. Consistently okay. Be consistent at doing an okay job. Yeah. That's greatness. That's what greatness looks like. I'm not shitting you.
No,
we have been trained and taught to think that you have to be great.
You got to jump the number one first try,
be the top
just like
performer.
Neo. But like Neo, everybody fails their first try.
That's right. And what did he do? He sat down. I know kung fu. Let's go into the room. And then he got better and better and better. And he practiced. Right. That's the point. Is like we think that we have to be like this way because again we're just getting into what the narrative of culture and how we just get indoctrinated into this way of thinking.
We see it. We assume we're supposed to be there already.
Yeah. Or this is
have spent 10 years practicing.
It's more like this, Devin. This is how it is. Like your point with your argument with your father. Why question it? I'm telling you, this is how it is. So, hey, did you know that human beings are vicious and malicious and they used to fight and kill and pillage and fucking take everything? That's how we are. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's how we are. Mm-hmm. And there are also tons and tons of cultures that thrive on sharing. Like, in fact, they don't even know whose kids are whose.
So there are
everyone's a father, everyone's a mother.
Who fucks who? You have a baby, everybody takes care of that baby. It doesn't matter whose it is.
Yeah, and I do get, obviously, boil it down to, hey, we took all your shit away. Yeah, they're probably going to start killing each other. Mm-hmm. Or maybe they might go, wait a minute, it's been going pretty good so far by us sharing. Let's all put our heads together and go and find enough for everybody. Who knows? But if you back a human against the wall, clearly we are animals. But I'm just saying that, again, we can slip into a default way of thinking. And it's fucking subtle, man. And I'm telling you because of my Hulk. I literally used to think, oh, this is who I am, and this is how I am. And when you fuck with me, I break shit.
I'm going to throw that chair
And then I realized, oh, wait a minute.
He didn't throw a chair at me.
It doesn't actually have to be that way.
Right.
I can choose I could pay attention and choose a different behavior.
Age of enlightenment where we're all like the light is on, and we're all looking around like, is there a better way to do this, or should we just...
Anyway, that's a rabbit hole in and of itself, right? Yeah. But that's what I'm saying is we have to be really careful about our own thinking, because it's so fucking invasive on every topic across the fucking spectrum. You know,
it sounds like you're just boiling it down to making conscious decisions rather than just running on autopilot.
Wouldn't it be interesting if everybody just did their best? What would happen if everybody practiced that?
I think a lot of people would be facing their own trauma, being like...
Well, fair, but you'd also be in a position where if somebody said to you, hey, you know what? I don't know. Think of some fucking limiting bullshit law or something that we have to deal with now. They put that in your world and you just go, okay, can you at least use lube this time? Like, you know what I mean? Like you might stop and think for a second. You might go, wait a minute. Is this really in my best interest? Is this really for all of us? Or is it... How does this work, right?
More people start accepting it.
So here's the dynamic shift of power, though. Now, every corporation or every big whatever the fuck it is that's out there, we'll use WestJet as an example. We don't have a lot of options, guys. We got fucking WestJet, Air Canada, and United, and all three of them are gonna fuck you in the ass no matter what you say or do. You gotta pay for $600 to get from here to here, but then you also gotta pay another $100 for your baggage. Plus, if you want to bring something on the plane, you gotta pay another $100 for that. And so, we don't have choices because I'm just gonna call it as a blanket statement the corruption of that ultimate power. And this is why long time ago we all decided capitalism is gonna work better because it takes away the monopoly. But what happened?
Well,
the more powerful something got, the more money it got, the more it became
we all agreed,
exactly what we wanted to avoid.
We all agreed, but who were the catalysts?
Right.
Who were the one who ran the show? That's what I'm trying to share with you. What you just said is very interesting. This goes into infinite banking. And I want to come back to you, Al, because I know you have some stuff to share. But here's the thing. Are you willing to get uncomfortable?
Yeah, and
the likelihood is no.
Can we make?
Because I could choose not to fly.
Right.
Here's the thing.
Your own airline.
We've been whatever. The point is, look, we've been
have your own plane.
We've been taught to think that we need them.
It's a real thing.
Right.
It's just like banks, just like the government.
That's the market.
They need us.
Yeah.
They need us.
Yeah.
And we are so fucking weak and pathetic and powerless. And I'm not talking about you guys. I'm talking about me. We're so fucking weak and afraid and stuck in our little shell.
We justify
and think reality is actually reality that we justify, and we just figure out a way to continue on.
Go along.
Human beings are extremely fucking resilient. Back to Al's point, if I dropped him in the middle of the woods, he is going to come outside, out the other side of that experience, stronger and better and smarter and more valuable and dangerous. And they know that.
So to that end.
Well, really?
And I'm super curious to get the perspective on this.
I think I would die.
When Kanye West came out and said slavery is a choice, what was the reaction?
Oof. Wow.
Not a good one.
Yeah, that was toxic.
Basically, like he was...
Well, it goes right to what we're talking about right now. What do you think about that, Al? Slavery is a choice. It is your choice to say, well, I'm going to fly Southwest because I got to get to Florida to see my parents.
I got to do it, so I got to do this.
It's a better experience probably to see.
So we feel like we don't have a choice now.
Exactly. I drove to Vegas. It was fucking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, if they control.
I mean, you can walk. You can ride a fucking horse.
You can do a ton of things.
There's a lot of options.
You could work your ass off at something that you really love, learn how to control your own economy, and go wherever the fuck you want to go, whenever the fuck you want to go there. You could do that too.
Get your own plane.
Well, yeah, because money gets you exactly what you need. Right?
Yeah.
Because we could argue that you're only experiencing that shitty experience with whatever airline, it's just to stay on that example, because you're paying for the coach ticket. But if you pay for the first class ticket, like somebody's there giving you a hand job because you paid $3,000 for the fucking ticket.
Yeah, and
you know what I'm saying?
Now,
he's like, I'm flying Emirates from now on.
To be fair,
pay double. They might even pay double.
To be fair, I totally get that. That is the path of least resistance, 100%.
Fair.
And I know we're talking about plane tickets, so I might not be able to network enough to get a plane ticket. Maybe I could, but just to quote Tony Robbins here, and the money seminar, I'm stuck inside this thing, man. Money solves problems. Like, I'm totally stuck inside that narrative.
Yeah.
Right? If I had a bunch of money, a lot of my problems would go away. Of course, I'd get new problems. I got that. But then I'd rather have those problems, right?
Right.
Anyway, but
until you have those problems, you're like, fuck.
Exactly.
Right? But again, it's fucking invasive, and you need to be really careful, because I have played really small over the last however many years, again, because, I need to get to a certain point in my business and do certain things so that cash flow is there so I can do other things. That's totally limited thinking. And that's what Tony Robbins said, is that most people think that they have, I don't have enough contacts, or I don't have enough money, or I don't have enough this, I don't have enough that. And the one thing that he says that people need to double down on is resourcefulness. We all have that.
That's our biggest
There's a lot of money out there. You just have to go get it.
Resourcefulness.
What a great question.
Oh, it is such a great question. Perfect.
How do you double down on resourcefulness? Yeah. What does resourcefulness mean to you, Patrick?
Great question.
Being able to come up with an answer to something that I didn't have an immediate answer for.
Sure.
Like thinking outside the box.
Why don't you distinguish that a little bit deeper? So to be resourceful is to be what? How do you act as a human being when you're resourceful?
Well, you're probably pretty intelligent in terms of coming up with a solution that maybe no one else thought of. Maybe you're good at leveraging assets when you don't have much of it, and you can grow them. I mean, like, resourcefulness is basically like an encompassing term that just means that you're very dependable at getting something done or getting something. But that, like,
find a way.
How does that
to get it done, no matter what?
In a way that is like, you know,
it's crazy the language that you're using to kind of illustrate that, because even in the language that you're using, there are barriers.
Yeah, huge.
In the way that you're saying.
Nothing wrong. It's just
you have to you have to leverage your assets, even though you don't have assets. So now you can't be resourceful.
So here's another
right.
Here's another way to. Because I want you to get something here. So if you had no assets, there was nothing available to you in the way you understand assets to be available to you, like that there are things out there that you can count on. If you couldn't count on anything, what does resourcefulness mean for you?
Discovering something new.
What does that mean though? How is that inside of an action? Like what?
Like
what
on the court example. Of what resourcefulness would be.
Like engaging in conversation with people that would have insights.
100%.
Sure.
That's an
tapping
example.
into your networks.
Is that a guess, or do you believe what you're saying?
No, I believe that because I've had to do that. It's just it hasn't really.
Here's another.
Made me like rich. Yeah.
Here's another. Consider you haven't done it yet. You're still trying to leverage the assets that are and you're still trying to leverage the assets that you think. You need in order to achieve whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. You're staying inside the box that you don't even realize is a box that you've been trained to stay inside of. What you've failed to realize or don't understand yet is, in order to be really resourceful, you got to get that there's something outside of the box.
Yeah, the concept makes sense.
It's not a concept.
So, can I bring this? So what I would say, another word to use in terms of resourcefulness, there's actions and all that, but I would say focusing again on your controllables. So for example, I don't know, I might not have, hey, you know what? I have a really huge stretch goal, and it's an income goal, okay? Really easy. 300 grand. That's
for the year?
Yeah. Okay. That's about 5 times as much as I've ever earned. Something like that. So I actually don't know how to do it. No idea. And I've said numbers. I've put numbers out there before. That's what I used to do. Is like I'd just be like to fit in with my group and be like, oh, I'm going to 100 grand this year, and underneath there's like no belief that it can happen. And what is shift? And then I would just so I could look good and fit in with the group, whatever. And then I would go out and do nothing and come back and report and accept the results and feel shitty. And exactly, accept the results because I never got resourceful. Right now, I'm committed and I'm inspired and I actually believe it can happen. I have no idea how, but I'm going to get resourceful. And I would offer to all of you that we all need, this is actually really good that this came up. Think about that for a second. The word of the year, maybe that's it. Resourcefulness. How we actually have everything in this room right now that we all fucking need. He has it all. He has everything he needs.
It's all there. It's in the back.
Think about how could we fucking
it's just
waiting to be unlocked.
How could we maximize the resources in this room?
Yeah.
Not to be answered right now, but that's what resourcefulness is. Resourcefulness is like flipping fucking stones, man. What can I control? What can I do? Things will happen.
I might have an example, and this is based off of something that David gave me.
And I do want to come back to the new nigger.
When we were at your...
now it's like rabbit hole.
We were at your Christmas party, and I was talking to David about the frustration I was experiencing with the business owner that I run a company with, and how he doesn't want to pay for a sales guy or a marketing dude at all, and instead keeps going back to his old, like, I have confidence you'll figure it out. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm telling you, man, this is what we need. And then Dave was just like, you should just hire the guy anyways and charge Roger. I'm like, brilliant. That's actually brilliant. And I talked to the dude and I just kind of pitched him the same idea, and now he seems on board with the idea, and I'm like,
that right there is exactly
that's
the definition of resourcefulness.
So
there was this pool of money that his owner needed to have in place in order to have a sales guy present, and owner's like, well, I'd much rather just give it to you, would be like the term, because I'm confident that you can figure it out. I'm like, well, then fucking hire the guy.
Take the money. Just
take the money, give it to the guy, and now you're the conduit between results and actions to take. And you leave him out of it because he's fucking useless.
Clearly checked out.
He has no idea how to run the company.
This is a good segue. So can I what I want to do is just do a quick summary, and I don't. Okay, so a quick summary of everything that we're talking about here. It's all connected.
It is
to what we're talking about. And one thing I just want to put on the table real quick with resourcefulness and that whole survival thing and all the shit that we deal with, right? Because we think that like the government and everything will take care of us. It's like easier this way. This is how we're going to survive. Because again, my number one concern is my well-being.
Oh yes.
Right now, that's basically that's everyone's number one concern.
Human being,
is like I need to survive. There's a bunch of reasons for that. Like if I die, I feel like my family is a lot more vulnerable. Right? Like I'm important. I need to be around. So therefore, that can quickly again limit your thinking and your resourcefulness. And like all I'm fixated on is I must survive. That means if Devin has to die for me to survive. Devin's dead. But here's the thing. The reality of it is like, what if I was like, oh my God, I'm afraid I got to kill Devin. Wait a minute. No, wait. Maybe I don't have to kill Devin. Maybe Devin could help me. Now, Devin, keep in mind, he is his own person, so he could be scared and freaking out and want to kill me. Yeah. Maybe he's not the person to help me. But at least if I first say, hey, Devin, how can we help each other? Maybe he all of a sudden goes,
we don't have to kill each other?
Maybe he's a friendly. Maybe I don't have to kill him. What? Have you ever had this? This is the last thing I'll say about this before I come back to Al. Have you guys ever had an experience? Oh, man, my comedy brain just wants to go anyway down a rabbit hole with that. Because I was going to say, have you ever had an experience with another man? No, but for real, have you ever had an experience particularly with a male? I'll use an example because it happens to me all the fucking time. Where I'm in a grocery store, I'm in the aisle, big dude beside me, and we're both you can actually feel an energy barrier. You can actually feel it. I can. Yeah. I'm aware of it. Maybe he's not. But really, it's biological. Like right now in the jungle, like I'm a threat to him. He's looking and going, yeah, that thing is valuable for a lot of things.
Yeah.
But because he's trying to figure out if I'm a threat. And that's what the Raz does. But you can feel it. All of a sudden I look at him and go, hey man, I tried that brand before. It's really good. Barrier disappears. And he goes, oh, fuck, thanks, man. I swear to God, it's invisible, guys. It's a fucking energy thing. I don't know what it is. Like I get it as biology. We're not going to kill each other here, but like in his brain and his mind, who knows? It's like his childhood. He wants to fit in. All these different things are going through his brain.
They call it the croc brain, right?
Right. He wants to be ready in case I go pound sand, fuck face, and he could go fuck you. Like you know what I mean? Yeah. He doesn't know what's going to happen. So all of a sudden, I just say, man, I tried that brand. It's really good. All of a sudden, boom, he goes a friendly. Because all he wants is to connect.
Yeah.
Right?
It's disconnection versus connection.
So this is a paradigm. So you are in one of these two paradigms, and he may be in the other one, and you disarmed it by being in the one that you're in. Now check it out. It's competitive versus collaborative.
Yeah.
So when you see another big guy, it's like, I have to compete with this big guy. I have to be bigger. So you puff your chest out. You stand up taller. You make yourself more bigger.
Your voice goes deeper.
You just become like 30% more man. Yeah. And you have no fucking control over it. The testosterone dumps in your body and shit. All these chemical reactions happen because it's programmed. That's how you happen. That's competitive. Collaborative is taking that, putting it aside, acknowledging it's there, put it aside, and find a way to work together.
Yeah.
And so your instinct now, thanks to your new programming or whatever, is to go, hey, how can I help this dude right now and prove to him we don't have to compete?
Mm-hmm. Another example of being resourceful.
Yeah, 100%.
Have you guys ever experienced that same phenomenon when like you're walking and some other dude's like behind you, but then he like kind of catches up, and so you kind of like speed up a little bit. But there's like this weird moment where it's like he's kind of walking at a pace that's comfortable for him, and you're walking at a pace that's comfortable for you, but neither of you are kind of like gaining on each other, so you're kind of like in each other's like sphere.
God forbid we actually walk shoulder to shoulder for 2 or 3 steps.
So like, that guy's right there, and
no, but isn't that interesting though? Because there's probably a zillion things going on there, but it's like individualism or this is my space or what, anyway. If he builds resilience, if he goes through the trench, if he does what he needs to do, he'll come out much stronger and ready for the next thing. But if a man is given everything that he needs,
the comforts,
to make life easy and make it work, he becomes complacent and weak.
Yeah.
Useless, in fact.
Hence the title.
And frantic, like literally weak. I don't know if you guys have ever seen a person either lose their temper or break. I've seen people break, and I've been broken. Okay?
That moment where it just clicks.
It's a fucking fucked up thing, man. And what I'm saying is most people they don't even have any clue how fragile they are. And it's not because there's anything wrong with them.
It's because they've never been tested.
Never been tested. No need to. Why?
Their degree of suffering.
You've got everything you need.
Yeah.
Don't worry. We'll take care of you. Sit down. Relax. It's all good. Just go to work every day. Pay your fucking taxes. And don't question me.
Right.
Because it'll get hairy if you do.
Well, that's
by the way, welcome to a free country.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
That's why traveling is usually really good, because it helps you see the type of wealth disparity that goes on in different countries, right? All the things that you take for granted, and the little funny things that you find, are difficult or make you miserable. And someone else stoked about it because it's more than what they've had.
Totally
So
fascinating.
what do you think is the solution to that then? Because even when we do travel, I find that a lot of people want to bring their lifestyle and that ease to the people that are suffering around the world.
That's because they're uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
It's like
it doesn't stop them from going on that mission though, right?
Missionaries.
Yeah, missionaries.
As a prime example of it.
Yeah.
No, I mean, they're uncomfortable.
No, yeah.
Dude,
I get that.
And
Yeah.
to your point,
Yeah.
they can't be with the suffering of another human being.
Yeah.
And
or what they perceive as suffering.
Right, and then they automatically apply that
Fix-it mode.
Whether it's a fix-it mode, it's that I have a solution to a problem.
To your problem.
But the issue is that may not be a problem.
Exactly. It's a problem for me. It might not be a problem for you.
Exactly. It may not be a problem to the person that they're having that interaction with. That just may be life. Much like a person, if you flip that particular scenario around, bringing somebody that, I don't know, as an example, a tribe from someplace that does not have a patriarchal or a nuclear family structure into North American structure and going, how the fuck do your families work?
Yeah, this is so hard. There's no support.
Like, how does it work? Like, okay, well, you need to have your extended family. Like, the whole village should be like raising your kids, and like, why don't you just like teach these people how to hunt and like all of this kind of stuff? Like, it would be a problem for them trying to come into this world, and vice versa. It is the problem is like, or one of the issues is that it's a different. People cannot be with themselves and then cannot be with themselves with other people in the state that they are in or not in.
I saw somebody post a status that was like, it's a shame that I can't be comfortable without being busy.
Yeah.
I have to keep myself occupied.
Train and stuff like that.
Or else I stop and now my brain starts going. And I remember hearing somebody say, like, when you're by yourself, shit gets real fucking quick.
Yeah.
Right? You start to question literally everything, and then you don't like it because it's uncomfortable, to your point, and then you have to shift it. And the only way you can do that is by getting busy, and most people turn to the most readily accessible things like drugs or violence or any of the vices.
Netflix, playing a video game. I call it video game, but it's online.
Work. Having a relationship. Having a family.
I got
getting a degree.
Cool idea alert. Either before or after, I say, if we could create this as a regular practice, it'd be interesting to have either Patrick or Chris lead us in like just a 10-minute meditation before every podcast.
I'm going to just say that I don't have experience leading meditations, but I do them pretty regularly.
Well, when I say lead, all I really mean is like, guidance. You guys might have some other knowledge in terms of like just setting the tone, how to prepare ourselves to just sit for 10 minutes. As ridiculous as that sounds, most people don't do it.
I do find it fascinating that, because people have talked to me about this. They're just like, I could never do that.
It's actually,
I know.
It's like, you can't sit alone with your own thoughts for like an hour.
I thought it was going to be a 20-minute quick little thing, and it was like 45 minutes, and I'm like, oh my god, where the fuck did all this time go?
Wait, when you meditated?
Yeah, this morning. That's why I was late, because I fucked up, and I was like, oh shit, I was up at 7:30 this morning, just for the record. Like,
this is
I was
a fucking rabbit hole, man.
Y'all fucked me up with the 6:30 thing, so I've been like, from that day on, I've been waking up as early as I possibly can.
And that's how it starts.
So like, you fucked my whole life up, and now I'm trying to do it, but then I wake up in the morning, I'm like,
Devin.
What do I do until 9 o'clock?
Maybe we unfucked your life.
Hey, Devin,
Thank
Devin,
you, I just appreciate you
maybe
very
you're a
much.
biological organism and you're being reprogrammed.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of which,
Fully accepting it.
do you know of Dr. Joe Dispenza?
Yeah, actually, I've been following him for the last, I can't even say, probably a month.
So what happened to you
Since
today?
I discovered... What happened? What? Say it again?
What happened to you
biohacked
during
yourself.
what happened during your meditation then?
I have no idea. Like, I was just, I was fully present and it just existed as consciousness, as nothing else. And
Because you forgot about
being a human.
your body,
Yeah.
your
That's pretty
environment,
intense for like your
and
first
time.
couple of times, man.
I've been trying to do it every day, and actually, in fact, there are some days, because my anxiety fucking was ruining me. So I was doing it twice a day. I've been really, really very consciously practicing and working on creating that space. Although, I've had bad meditations too, where the whole fucking time I'm just sitting there mad at myself because I can't have that transcendental experience that I had last time. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Why can't I
Yeah.
get... And so you still have to fight yourself to shut the fuck up and get out of your own way to let it happen. But I'll tell you this, a number of things have happened for me because I've reprogrammed my allergies. Gone. My allergies are completely fucking gone. And I've tested it. My sister's cat, it's a hairless cat, and every time I go there, if I touch that cat, immediately I'm fucking itchy everywhere. My face swells up, my eyes, I can't breathe, my nose is running. And the last time I was at her house, I picked the cat up and fucking rubbed it on my face, and I put the cat down. I'm like, let's see what happens.
I thought hairless cats were
Nothing.
supposed to be hypoallergenic.
No, that's a myth.
So check this out.
It's fucking insane, the power
That's
of
what they have.
it.
I heard their saliva. I heard it was their saliva.
You said what do you think we got to do to change that?
Exactly. So coming
Now,
back to it.
Hold
so
on. So you forgot who you were, man. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
That's what Joe Dispenza talks about. Is like you're literally changing who you are, but you got to forget who you are before you can do that. Basically, what he says is, how does he put that? If you sit down, like you said, when you have a air quote bad meditation, you're still practicing. You get that, but when you sit down and unless what happened to you that today, unless that happens, he says that you haven't changed.
Yeah.
Unless you, for literally, you just all of a sudden you're just floating in the abyss. That's when all that you're tapped into the subconscious, basically. Like I'm no expert at it, but that's kind of what's happening, right? It's fucking fascinating.
Yeah.
shit.
Well, the principle is that because you have cells in your body that are created and then die and create and die and create and die.
Exactly.
You actually build a new body. And I know this is going to be some really fucked up language, but understand that this is where my head's at now is like, I'll have flashbacks to anxiety. And I call them flashbacks because they're not part of my new body. They're a part of my old body. And some parts of my old body still remember it. And so that's why it becomes present. But because I've denied it and told myself that that is my old body and my new body does not function that way, some of these like old things are going away. And it's actually an incredibly profound experience for me because I never realized the level of power you actually have over the little tiny fucking pieces of who you are, like the little tiny things that make up who you are.
This is a rabbit hole, man.
It's so fucked up. But
Do we want to go further down the rabbit hole?
No, I keep saying I want to come back to Al.
Okay.
So I want to come back to Al.
which we did.
Well,
But
So I think Vern was like, we want to come back to your.
Well,
Vern
you
wants
start-
to come back to the new nigger.
you started off with.
Can't say that. You're not.
for educational purposes,
By the way, that's an interesting thing too. By the way,
yeah.
I'm all for dropping N-bombs. I don't.
Yeah.
But the reason why
you said the N word, I had to say it in my head.
the reason why I say that is because again, people, think about this. We're giving all of the power to
the
that.
word, yeah.
So it holds on to the memory of what it is. So we have to continue to stay in that paradigm, right?
well,
I agree with
that's
that.
that's another rabbit hole because
That's another rabbit hole.
I believe this, and I think you're alluding to it. I mean, you just said it. Where I think if we talk about it, we discuss it, we start to transform what it actually means, and I think we should.
I agree.
Instead of holding on to what it did mean, because realistically, that word is derived from a Spanish word named negro, and the reason why they were called negros is because they wanted to take away entitlement, like your identity. So they just call you negros, which transformed into niggers. So that word has been being transformed throughout the 400 years, and I think should continue to transform. In fact, now that some people have talked about how we're taking back that word, and we're empowering it in such a way now it's becoming cool. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? As opposed to, you say that word and you get triggered, like, I gotta beat the shit out of you because of it. I remember, and I think I said this a while ago.
One of our last podcasts we did, yeah.
Yeah, right. When I was younger and I was called that.
Homeboy, yeah.
Yeah, you know, and me and my other black friend were beating up this white dude because he called us niggers, and my dad was like, "Well, do you know why you did that? Because you think you are one." Mm-hmm. And so by transforming that word. And now, which is so important, that's why I said the new niggers, it's not just a color anymore, it's an attitude, it's a way of being. And
oh, go ahead.
No, exactly, and that's what it was perfect, but what you talked about was that we are, just like the WestJet commercial, where it's designed to put you in a corral, and they've come up with better, more effective ways to put you in that corral. That's what we were talking about. In Switzerland, was it? Where
I think it's in Sweden.
In Sweden?
It's one of the Scandinavian countries. You know what? Why don't I just Google that?
Yeah, Google. We got a computer, man. Let's use the new technology where they're looking to take away currencies so we can potentially put a chip in you where you just start to scan. More of a control, more of putting you into the field and have you pick the cotton the way that they want you to pick it, right?
So, like, I guess my question
does that make sense?
It does, yeah. And my question is, like, I agree with everything you guys are saying. However, I'm just not a black person, and my biggest concern is by saying something that triggers a traumatic experience for somebody.
Yeah.
I just don't want to do that.
No.
And that's
for
sure. Considerate of another human being.
Because I also remember last time.
I also don't want to continue perpetuating the idea that that word means that. So it's like,
I don't literally mean go around dropping N-bombs. I think what I'm actually saying is what Al said, like having conversations.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Top-down thinking, top-down transformation does not and will not occur. What I mean by that is, like, you know, bank level, government level,
right, yeah.
official level.
This would be like trickle-down.
Yeah. We're talking, everything that we're talking about, to your point about the solution. I don't know if this is like a cliche or whatever, but literally, it's bottom-up. It's conversations like this. It's like things like this happening in rooms. It's us reaching out to people. It's people on an individual level. Everybody has to experience their own transformation, their own responsibility and leadership. That is what's going to be going to transform the world.
Imagine this: a young black man listening to this podcast because he wants to do better in life, and hearing another black man say, "We need to take the power away from that word." What do you think that means to him? And this is why a long time, like that one podcast we had, I said, "You have very different conversations with your children than I do." And why is that? And to the argument, it does perpetuate. If you're talking about be careful because you're black, be careful because you're black, it's necessary, but also doesn't that perpetuate the idea?
Yeah, it's a very challenging thing.
That he has to go out there and be careful. Instead, if we didn't talk to them like that, and you talked with a different language, same message, different language, like, hey, when you see somebody of authority, be respectful. It doesn't matter if you're black or white. Because that's how I was raised. And you know what I mean? Like, changing the language and the way we communicate those ideas is going to reframe it for the next generation.
I think, that's a good point, because I see it on a scale of, like, of different colors and shades. Let's say we were talking, let's say you were my son and you were dark and we were talking about it. If we're talking about it and saying you have to be careful about who approaches you, I see that a little bit different in the sense, like, we could have that conversation and say, listen, it does exist out there. Be aware of it, but also still come with the respect and say, I'm still going to respect you and still going to speak to you as a human being. There's other conversations where people are just saying, no, you need to fear them, you need to run from them.
And that's what I'm
exactly. So
that's the dangerous part.
That's why I use the analogy about colors, because it's the tone that you use and say, no, it does exist. I've experienced it. You may experience it. Let's talk about how you're going to address it. How would you address it? How would you deal with it? This is how I would. This is how your mom would. Now there's a conversation that can lead to empowering. Like, okay, now I have being resourceful and creating different results about how to approach that.
That's the thing, right? Is it changing your behavior? Yeah. Changing how you be. The parent who tells the kid, and what's the word I'm looking for here? I'm actually one of those kids. Fortunately, I was blessed with white privilege, skin. But I'm a black man stuck in a white man's body.
Though, right? Like, all jokes aside.
No, all jokes aside. Like, my pops told me, he's like, you do not fucking speak to the man. You see cops, you go the other way. One time, holy shit, I was getting out of his car, and I touched someone else's car, and he just about fucking beat my ass in a parking lot. He's like, you never fucking touch someone else's property. You don't put your fucking hands on people's shit. And he was not telling me that because don't put your hands on people's shit. He was telling me that because he's fucked up and paranoid and being like, yeah, you don't want to be the guy. You don't want to be, if that car got broken into, you don't want to be near it.
Right.
Especially if your fucking hands are on it. Don't fucking touch that. Yeah. So what I'm saying is that is the same lack of evolution that's continuing to perpetuate.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not getting president going and teaching me a lesson there. Yeah. He's doing his hairpin animalistic fucking holy fuck survival. Don't fucking touch that, man. You're gonna get in trouble.
Right.
Yeah.
And to his like just
nothing wrong.
He didn't know any different.
Yeah,
right?
You do the best you can with the knowledge and resources you have.
Right. We do. Somebody listening to this, watching this right now. Now you know. You know what I mean? Like
because we're talking about it.
Because we're talking about it, and so it kind of creates this responsibility now when you go out into the world after listening to this or being a part of this conversation to continue to spread that message. And it's not like go out there now and lead rallies and advocate for it, but like the conversations that you have with other people need to boil down to this, right? So come back to this, being open, being present, being forward thinking in that it doesn't have to be this way. We can choose it to be another way. And going back to, that's the kind of the full reach around to the other side of this conversation was like, we do have a fucking choice in all of this, right?
That was awesome. Chris, I just remember Chris and he just goes.
So that comes back to what I said earlier. We're really good at bringing up what it looks like currently. What are some of the solutions? So here's what I want. What are some of the solutions that you guys see? I had a few that I'd like to
hang on.
throw.
Before we get to the solution, just like money, you got to understand the problem.
True.
So
I agree.
Let's distill this real quick, you and I. So when you're a slave, just your knowledge, your experience, education. I don't know about you, but learning those things was a big thing in my life, in my family. It was something we were encouraged to do. Learn about that stuff because they don't teach you that in school. You don't learn about slavery. You learn about some kind of American history. They don't talk about slavery. So my question for you is, what would make a slave a slave? What was slavery like? What were some of the limitations?
Lack of freedom, right? Lack of movement, lack of thinking.
Not allowed to think. You get punished for learning how to read, right?
Learning how to read, yeah.
You guys ever watch Roots?
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Right, so there's a little girl who gets her ass beat by her pops because the white girl taught her how to read, right? Because why is he doing that? This is so, again, because that was...
Education is power.
No, but that was his animal.
Knowledge is power.
No, it was her father.
Yeah.
Why? So what I'm getting at is
trying to protect her.
Somebody exactly.
He was going to get into trouble. He thought with what he was projecting by going.
Right. That's my point. Is unfortunately he didn't have the groundedness to have a conversation with her, right, and just say, hey, look, people can't find out about that because you will die. We're in trouble if that happens, right? So he beat her out of love because that was what he knew to do.
That's all he knew.
Yeah, all he knew to do, and he did it because he loved her and he was trying to protect her.
Yeah.
Right. It's fucking mind blowing. But
and because he was raised inside of a generation of fear, when you instill fear, you get people to do what you want them and not do what you don't want them to do.
Exactly.
And so the beating
creates the opposite.
It's the fear that you instill, right? Oh shit, I'm not going to do that. That's the only tool he knew.
Right. It's a literal physical programming. Like you are installing a physiological response in the body.
Yeah.
With fear. Yeah. So it's like it's the father in that particular instance is feeling what he's feeling. He's got whatever programs he's running, right? That stuff is all happening. The physical transmission vector of the beating is the passing or the installation of a control program that lives in the body now. So now you're fighting your own biology.
It's the trained elephant.
Yeah. Your own biology.
You guys,
at that point.
Have you guys watched Harry Potter? We just watched the 7th or 8th or whatever the last movie was, and there's this scene where they run through and there's this tortured, beaten up, chained up dragon, and they're all like, oh shit, and then one of the guys they're with starts shaking this noisemaker, and the dragon starts freaking out, and they're like, what, right? And he tells them he's been trained that when he hears this noise, he's going to experience pain. So here's these little humans that he could just blow with fire or eat, but then they start shaking this thing and it's all like fucking backed up against the corner. Like that's real life. That's real.
Exactly.
Right? So anyway, so you said, obviously you can't go anywhere. You're stuck here. You're chained. You're shackled. You're obviously not self-expressed. Like you're a machine. Your job is just to go to work. That's it. Okay? All right. So let's describe life today.
By the way, and that's so brilliant what you just did there, because when you talked about studying it and being educated on it, as I was and pursued it, you start to see the same elements in today's society.
You start to see
Hence
things.
the name of the title, where you're just like, well, there's no difference.
That's right.
There is no difference. If we take away
It's
the
just
color
elevated.
and we look at the system, because that's what it was. It was a brilliant. If you take away the emotion, it's a
100%.
brilliant system.
Fucking brilliant.
Brilliant system.
Banking,
Have you ever
government.
heard Trevor Noah
incredible.
talking about how they perfected it in South America? How they literally went around the world. People, the government in South America went around the world to perfect their racism. You ever talk about it?
I have
I know
not.
who Trevor Noah is, but I've never talked about that.
Never
We
heard of
talked
that.
about like the apartheid and how the government paid people to go study that around the world about racism. It's like your racism is pretty good. Mwah. How did you do that?
It's on point.
It's on point, yeah. So and what I got to see when you study it, you start to see it is a system, and you get to see that system here live and well now. Hence why I really support when you talk about infinite banking, and when I talk about going over with the solutions,
Yeah.
because that's one of them. That's the same equivalent. Becoming your own bank is the same equivalent as your example, putting me in the force to learn and grow and develop. Right.
So
You start to think outside of the box. You become more resourceful, and you become, to those that want to imprison you mentally, you become dangerous.
that's right.
Right?
So 100%. So looking at
1,000%.
1,000%. Looking at
Give it to me.
we can show you how to do that.
Yeah, right.
So looking at the situation today, right? Oh, by the way, this is a direct message to white folks, particularly the racist ones. I hate to break it to you, but you a nigger.
Yeah. You know what?
Bringing you down on a level. Think about it.
Yeah, no, exactly, and that's
Subtle.
why. It's funny because when somebody when I went past and my dad had explained, like, the reason why you think you went and beat that little white boy is because you thought you were a nigger. What opened up for me exactly what you just said is that it's a mentality. It's not a skin
state of
color,
being, yeah.
right? Usually, what you find is people, whether it's love or hate, they're projecting what's inside of them. So if they call you a nigger,
That's why it can be used in both ways.
Exactly,
Right?
exactly. Yeah. That's why I started saying, when somebody goes like, you're a nigger, and I go, you know what? You're worse than nigger. You are a nigger. Just because you're thinking the way you function. Because if you think I'm that stupid to think that because you have white skin that you're smarter than me, you got to be outside of your brain, outside of your mind. Hence why I was talking to Rochelle and saying, if you actually think that you're gonna drink Coke and you're gonna laugh at me and think that you're being smart, are you out of your fucking mind?
Al, it's a perfect example
I know.
of a bigot.
Yes.
Think about this. We're all indoctrinated. We have no power. We're on the same level here.
Yeah.
Granted, you might get more tickets than
There's
that
a
guy
nuance,
in
yeah.
certain places of the world. But stay with me.
Yeah.
Stay with me for a second. They have they're so fucking ignorant. They're so fucking ignorant that they'll look at a black or a Mexican and be like, "Oh, this fucking," and say some shit like you're a lower.
Yeah, it's like,
But they're so fucking ignorant. They don't even realize how enslaved they are.
exactly.
They don't understand.
Easier to keep people in control if you think that
It's fascinating.
If you pit them against each other.
In fact,
And that's what they perfected. It's brilliant. In fact, they did it even in Rwanda, right? You took two people that looked the same and said, well, the Tutsis and I forget the other.
Hutsis and the Tutsis.
Yeah.
The Hutu.
isn't
That's what it was. Right?
Hutus.
social class is almost a form of enslavement.
Yeah, it is. It was,
No, like think about that for.
This is what I was trying to illustrate earlier.
Right,
in
yeah,
the other podcast was that this
Okay.
isn't a color thing. Although, whatever it is, pick it. It's a thing.
Yeah.
It becomes the discrimination. So a group of you and your friends could go to a club.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be like, "Oh, your pants are too big. You can't come in." But your first thought is, "Oh, it's because we're all black." Now, that club owner, that bartender, that whoever the fuck it was that made that decision could have made it for a million other reasons. But the only reason that you're present to is because I'm black. Now check this out. When I was a kid, me and my friends, we were all white. I grew up in a hick town.
Thanks for clearing that up, by the way. No, I'm just joking.
I don't see color.
Now, we went to the club, and in the same lineup, the bouncer walks up to me and goes, "You can't come in, you got an earring in."
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? I didn't go, is it because I'm white? I went, because you don't fucking like me, because we were loud and having fun in line.
Right.
That's where my mind went.
Right.
So, I'm not saying it exists or doesn't exist. What I'm questioning is why is it that you're like, your first thought would be to go to that? I'm not saying you specifically, but...
Yeah, but is an example...
Or my first thought is to go to this other thing, because it's the same thing, very arbitrary.
It comes down to training. And
Yeah, it's training, for sure.
He had a great example, like when he got outside of the vehicle and he went to touch another vehicle, his dad responded that way.
It ignited it.
Yeah, that's going to have a visceral, cellular...
Right.
So when he encounters the bartender, he's going to think it's because I'm black, or at least I'm light-skinned. With me specifically, that's not the first thing I go to. Because of what my dad was teaching me is like, you become empowered, right? Don't let those words affect you.
Right.
Because if they affect you, it shows you about you, not them.
Because you're trying to sit there and freak out. I feel bad, actually, to your point. It's fucking frustrating to no end to see these videos where I do see, let's say if it's a right or wrong thing, both people in this conversation are wrong, okay? Yeah. But there's an argument going on, and again, maybe the black guy is saying, oh, it's because I'm black, right? But what we're not seeing is the history of momentum inside those two people.
Exactly.
You didn't see that kid get called a nigger 1,000 times and told he was no good and not worth anything and this, that, and the other thing. And the reason why life is going the way it is for him and what he's destined for is because he's a nigger. And then when he shows up at a place and they say, oh, sorry, sir, you can't step past this line. Again, it's the animal shows up. Oh, I know why I can't step past a fucking line.
It's that bell being ringing for the dragon, right? Yes. And all of a sudden he gets like, okay,
it
that's
just
what it
starts
is.
Triggering that traumatic experience through whatever
it's the same thing.
Right? Like I get triggered by that. So
anyway, this thing's all over the place. But my point is around the piece about the new niggers, to come back now and looking at the solution. The problem is folks, we all want to pay off our mortgage, right? Then people think they own some shit. Well, stop paying your taxes and see what happens.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is just examples. And everyone will argue all these different points and say, oh, well, you got to pay your taxes and do your fair share. Look, because I said one thing doesn't mean I said all those other things. Oh, well, the taxes are bad. I'm just saying there's a different...
If you can think yourself sick, you can think yourself well. Oh, there we go. All of a sudden my cancer's healed.
Right, yeah, exactly. There's
what the fuck I said.
I love that conversation because people always do that in inside communication. I'll say, stop paying your taxes. Oh, you're saying you can't pay taxes are bad? It's like, whoa, there's the animal again. Totally. Slow the fuck down. I didn't say paying taxes was bad, did I? Yeah. I said, stop paying your taxes and see what happens.
So frustratingly predictable.
Yeah. So my point is we are bombarded with this bullshit about freedom. And I fucking am not free, man.
Nope.
I'm not free. Can you promise to not come into my house and take my shit? And if you have a fucking problem, could you come and talk to me about it? And if you need help, would you ask? Is this so fucking hard? Am I crazy? Am I oversimplifying this thing?
No. It really is. The problem is that every other fucking human being overcomplicates it.
I got that.
Right? And when we distill it down to that, hey, can I help you with something today? I got nothing to fucking do. Can I help you with something? If everybody thought that way, we would all be fucking so much better. And that literally is how simple it is. That's what a business is. Hey, I need to help somebody because I'm, you know what I mean? I'm out here, I'm gonna help you, so let me help you. And then I help you and you're like, cool man, here, like, have some of my shit because that's how I'm gonna help you. And so we trade in that helping each other, whatever that business is. If it's a burger at Burger King, or if it's you in infinite banking, or if it's you in branding, or you in tech, you know what I mean? Whatever the fuck it is, we're just helping each other, and that's literally it. And if you can't get to that place in existence, then you're stuck in the system. You're stuck in this way of you have to do this and do this and do this, and if you do not follow exactly the way this works, beep boop more. You know what I'm saying? You're a fucking robot now.
So,
that's his take on.
So Al,
how are we?
Oh yeah, sorry. We're probably like an hour. Yeah.
Hour
okay, so
we should put that.
How do you wrap it up?
So I'll do a shameless plug here, and I'll come back to the solution. So one thing I used to think about all the time, way before I heard about infinite banking, is I used to talk to my family about this. I used to say, like, think about everybody comes, you know, we're taught again, you got to get your house and you got to get to this and you got to get that and you got to be independent, you got to be a man, you got to take care of your shit. Like, that's probably like the worst fucking advice possible.
I wanna be a man.
Yeah, well, the truth is most of us don't. If that's a man, most of us don't want to be that. So what I always joked about is I would say, okay, this is weird. We all go to work, we make our money, then we come home, we get out of our vehicle and we go in our house and then we fucking get into the middle of the floor in the fetal position and try to figure out how the fuck we're gonna do life.
Yeah.
And there's 100,000 pods in my neighborhood that operate like that.
Same way. Yeah.
Are they crying too?
And then we were talking about
I cry.
we were talking about the village and things earlier, right? We're talking about resourcefulness. I used to say this to my brother-in-law. I talked to him like, dude, how the fuck do we make this work? I'm like, I've got a house. It costs me fucking $5,000 a month to run this goddamn thing. It costs you the same to run yours. We have both the same basic needs here. I don't understand why I have to sit in my plan and figure out how I'm going to get out of my debt and I'm going to make my wealth and I'm going to pay off my mortgage and I'm going to send my kids to school. I'm going to do all these things and I got to do it on my own. And if I fuck up somewhere along the way, well, I guess I just fucked up my lineage for a few generations. You know, like, it's just madness. Yeah. And most people don't, air quote, make it. Most people don't experience joy. Most people don't experience love. They don't experience freedom. They don't experience their dreams. They just don't, because they're alone. Right? So what I'm saying is if you find a way to share resources is one thing, and to distill it down, particularly inside of banking, for example, everybody has this big fucking nut they got to crack every month. Like I said, I'm making $5,000 a month. Okay, let's say. Cost me $4,900 a month to live to operate my home.
That's $100 left.
And I'm supposed to find a way to have fun, retire. It's crazy. I'm the one making all the money. I'm the one taking all of the risk. I'm the one doing the things, and everybody else is getting my money. What in the fuck is going on here?
That's so fucking painful.
It's fucking madness. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, just a quick example, instead of fucking giving my money away because I got to go use, like, I don't know, a nameless, faceless organization like a bank, I got to use their money to get me the things in life that I've convinced myself that I need right now, today. What if my brother had those resources, as an example? What if, instead of paying all that money to the bank and paying them interest, what if instead I could accomplish my objective to get the car, and then instead of paying all them interest, all that shit, I could start sending that money to my brother? Wouldn't that make him financially better? And didn't I still solve my problem? You know what I'm saying? And then if there's other benefits to that whole process, right? The family banking system. But that's an example of how we can get free, because we become self-sustainable. We keep more of the money in our own house, more access, more control, more power there. And like, I'll give you guys an example. I messaged you guys the other day. Fucking unexpectedly, I think 2 days ago, I got like $1,000 pulled out of my bank account. Yeah, that's my responsibility. I got all that. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that it was unexpected. And because I'm not yet in the position, I just have to take that. Yeah. That's how it goes for me. Now we're short. And, you know, who's dealing with
banks taking overdraft fees? Check this out. Last year, it was like to the tune of $34 billion in overdraft. So they took money from people who didn't have money already and made $34 billion.
That $1,000 payment was the bank who took it. And they took it and used my overdraft to cover it. So they took how does that work? So that's
taking money from people who don't even have money.
Think about that
as a penalty for not having enough money.
Think about that for a second, okay?
How fucked is
Listen,
that?
you got to get that. Man. People will say, "Oh, well, you should have been this, you should have been that." That's how. No, I got it. I'm not saying that that's actually wrong. There's nothing right or wrong about it. Yeah. I'm just saying it doesn't have to be that way. Yeah. So I'll see you on January 18th. Yeah. Well, yeah. Anyway, that's my rant, man. I think everybody just has to fucking gain some courage, get introspective, figure out what they actually want, and have the balls to declare it.
I want to thank you for listening. We really hope that what you're hearing is of value. If there is something that you are curious about, or you wanted to share, or you had a question around, or even some feedback, we want to hear from you guys. Say hi at the GYST.life on Instagram or on Facebook. And If you do like what you hear, go to iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, Stitcher, wherever your flavor is, and leave us a review. Tell us what you think. Let us know how we did. We'd love to hear from you.